Hey guys, welcome and welcome back to another video. If this is your first time on my channel, you are so welcome. My name is IG, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always dropping by to watch my videos. So in this particular video, we're going to be talking about essential tips for new immigrants, especially if you're planning to come to Canada in 2024 or 2025. I feel like these tips will still be valid next year, so I'm just going to give you guys my honest opinion and some of the things I wish I had heard or perhaps I had taken seriously when I was about to move to Canada, because sometimes it's not really about hearing it, like it's about also taking it seriously, because some of the things I'm going to tell you in this video, I did hear them. It's not as if I didn't. It's just that sometimes you don't really take them seriously because you don't really realize how important they are. So I'm just going to be giving you these tips, and all of the things I'm going to be telling you in this video are some of the things I wish I took seriously. So I'm going to advise as well that you take them very seriously, because they would really help you in settling down easier. One of the major reasons why I make this kind of videos is that I feel like, coming to Canada prepared is very important, so that the process of settling down, of figuring out your life and figuring out yourself and everything, settling down will be just a little bit easier, because moving to a new country can actually be very hectic. So at least if you've done all the necessary things, if you figured out everything that you should do, at least you now have to focus on just settling, like arranging your mindset and everything to being in a new country. Okay, so let's dive right into the first point, which is arranging your CV. Now, I was on a job website a few weeks ago, and it was saying that the average time it takes a new immigrant or somebody new in a country to really get the kind of job that fit their qualifications and skill sets is anytime between 6 to 12 months. So that means from the first 6 months or the first 12 months of your stay in Canada, there's a good chance that you might not really be doing a job that fits your skill sets. Now, this is not to say that it's not possible to find a good job as soon as you land. That is actually very possible. It happens to a lot of people, but you need to prepare yourself. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Actually, prepare for the worst. Okay, so the worst is not really working a small job. Okay, that's actually really good because you managed to get a job. But in the meantime, I feel like while you're preparing to come to Canada, it is best that you arrange your CV. Especially if you're planning to work in the field that you studied when you come to Canada. One thing I feel that you can do, especially maybe if you studied engineering or something like that, you can just start as soon as you come, start applying for roles in your field, and by so doing you're able to figure out some of the qualifications or certifications that are needed in those roles. And now when you know what you should have, if you already have them, that's well and good, but if you don't have them, at least you can focus all of your energies or all of your attention on getting those required skills that are in demand by employers, and this will help you be able to find your feet immediately into the job market. I made a video recently about arranging your CV and how to get your ideal job in Canada and all of that. I'm going to link it here. But if you really want to get a job as soon as you land, because one thing you don't want to do is come and you're staying months without even finding your feet or finding any good job or finding even any job at all. So you really need something new in the first few months, even if it's just to settle down and just have some cash flow coming in. So one thing I would say is that initially you're going to struggle a bit, but at least try and arrange your CV. Do this before coming. This will save you a lot of stress. Arrange your CV, make sure that you have certain qualifications or skills in place. Now, if you don't have them, at least now you're thinking along that line of finding a way to get these qualifications that you are going to need for your employment. One thing you can do is just check online. There are lots of resources about arranging your CV, for Canadian job market. Just look into that, put your CV together and start putting out job applications as soon as you arrive, so that it doesn't have to be the situation where you stay for months and you've not really found anything doing, because you want to prepare yourself and just leave the rest to God. Next point I would like to make is being law abiding. Okay, so if you're not somebody that is law abiding naturally, I think you're going to face a couple of challenges here, especially with integrating with the people, because Canada is a very structured place. There are rules in place for almost everything. In fact, everything. In workplaces, there are a lot of structures and rules in place that most of the time you are very much expected to follow. Now, if you're somebody that naturally you're not really used to following rules, you're not really following like the laws and everything, I feel like you're going to have a lot of issues here. You're going to face a lot of challenges, because these rules are put in place and they are actually meant to be followed there. Most times it won't look as if it's a very strict something, but you might find yourself having a lot of challenges, especially with or your bosses in the workplace or something like that, because most of the time you're not following the rules, and it's going to be an issue. It's going to cause you to have some friction with your employers. This is mostly for the workplace, because sometimes you might come across certain rules and you feel like it's silly. Like, okay, there are some places that have a no fragrance rule, like, don't put on any perfume or any noticeable fragrance. Okay, now if you're the type that you like a lot of perfumes, you like a lot of fragrances, you might get into issues if you keep using it, because they already have this rule in place that you're not supposed to come with fragrances that people can perceive. But because you are not really the law-abiding type and you keep using them, you might actually find yourself getting into trouble. And these troubles might not just be like social troubles or something like that. It could even be legal issues, and that is one thing that you want to stay out of. Okay, so one thing I would advise is just try as much as possible to adjust your mentality to the fact that you are now in a place where there are rules and structure in place that people are actually really meant to follow. You are expected to really follow the rules, and not following them a lot of times is going to cause you to have issues in any place you are going, be it school, workplace, any organization you're going to find yourself. You will definitely face some challenges, and that is why it is really, really important to just adjust your mindset to the fact that if there's any rule in place, if there's anything that is said to be a law, rule, a way of doing something, try as much as possible to follow those things, because it will help you avoid certain little issues that could lead you to having unnecessary friction, especially in organization, workplace, school, or wherever else you might find yourself. So next thing I would say is, don't have unrealistic expectations. This is one thing I feel like a lot of people tend to do, especially when they're moving to Western countries, because you have a lot of high hopes, you have a lot of big dreams and all of that. Now, this is not to say not to dream big or anything like that, but the first few months of moving to a new country is going to be challenging. Any new country actually is going to be a bit challenging, and things might take a little while to just stabilize for you. So one thing I would say is that having little to no expectations is just going to help you avoid unnecessary stress, like feeling disappointments when you arrive, because it's going to take a while to really adjust to the environment, adjust to the people, the culture. And the first few months might not be, your best, but they're going to be good. But if you already have such high expectations, you're just going to feel like this is not really what you thought it was going to be. And the reality might be too different from what you had in mind. Now, having little to no expectations is just going to help you kind of like keep your mind at ease. This is what it is. Face your situation head on and everything. So my journey so far has actually been, very good. I've had my fair share of successes in just a short time, but some of the things that I ended up achieving or I've ended up doing is not always things I saw coming immediately. Some of the things that you're going to achieve or that are going to come your way, you might not see them coming, but if you have little to no expectations, you're just taking life easy and you're just like adjusting to the reality you find yourself, essentially. It's that when good things come your way, when you find yourself in a really good position, or you find things that you didn't expect, good things coming your way, you can take them with a little bit of appreciation and gratefulness. Expectation sometimes leads to disappointment, so if you had little to no expectations, you find it hard to be disappointed. I hope that makes sense. If you're considering moving to Canada in 2024, the next point I'm going to give you is learn to enjoy your own company, because this is very, very crucial. I cannot overemphasize how important this is, because it's not the same. It's just not the same over here. You're not going to have a lot of people in your corner in your first few months, but apart from that, you're not really going to have the same tribe of people that are always around you to support you and all of that, the way you had it back home or back in Nigeria, back in Africa. It's not going to be the same thing, because the culture here is different. Even your friends, the so-called friends that you're going to make eventually, they will have their own lives and they're going to be very, very busy. Most of the people here, everybody is on a different schedule, everybody has their own time. People are busy over here. And not to talk that, not to say that you're not going to make good friends. You will, but it's going to take some time, okay? And in that time, you need to find a way to enjoy your own company, enjoy being by yourself. Just enjoy your company, because it's going to help you a lot. If you find a way to enjoy your company, at least if you're spending time by yourself, you can appreciate the time that you spent alone, because you need to really do that, because a lot of the time that you're going to spend is going to be by yourself, especially if you move here without your family. So it's been like 6 months for me, and I don't really feel like I'm done building such a network, I'm done building such connections. It's going to take years and it's going to take time. So you just need to really learn to enjoy your own company in the meantime, so that you can appreciate your time and your life better. So the next thing I want to mention as well is learning how to drive. Now, I think I've mentioned this a couple of times in some of my videos. I think I even have an entire video about this subject and all of that, but I'm going to say it again because it is crucial. It is important. I don't know how to explain the transport system here, especially if you're going to move to maybe a small city or a city that is not very big. I don't know how to explain the transport system here so that you can understand, but the transport system here is just very different, and depending on where you're staying, the transport system might be tricky or sometimes challenging. So I live in BC, and for me, especially the town I'm living in, the city, transport system can be a bit tricky because if you're going to work, especially if you're combining multiple jobs or something like that, you need to work with the bus schedule. You need to work with the bus schedule, and this is not always very pleasant. So one thing I would say is that if possible, learn how to drive, perfect it, so that at least you already know how to drive, even though you still need to adapt to driving here. Like there's certain rules and traffic signs and everything that you need to learn. At least if you already know how to drive, it's going to take away some steps away from you. Because for me, I knew that I should learn how to drive, and I knew how to drive to an extent, but I had to relearn here and everything. So one thing I would say is that if you have a chance, please, or if you're considering moving to Canada in 1 year, 2 years time or something like that, now is the best time to start getting your driver's license, learning how to drive, so that you come with your driver's license already, perfect driving already. Because if you come here, you can get your license as quickly as possible because you already know how to drive, as well as handle a car. So now it's just left for you to save up and get a car. I think I've already said this multiple times, but if you come with your own license, your driving license from back home, it's going to give you, it's going to take away some steps. Like if you're meant to take maybe 8 steps to get your driver's license, you might end up taking only 6 or 5 because you already came with your license. It's not going to be a lot, but it will actually count for something. So if possible, get your license before coming, learn how to drive. This is very, very important, so that at least you don't have to spend a fortune here learning how to drive or getting driving lessons, because you already know how to drive. It's just be maybe to practice a little bit and get familiar with the road signs and road rules, so that you can actually get your license here. Now, if you already live in Canada and maybe you are familiar with all these things I already said, drop your ideas or comments or any other tips that you might have for incoming immigrants into Canada. If you have any more ideas or any more tips that you can give or share, please drop it in the comment section, because personally, anytime I'm watching a YouTube video, the first place I go to is the comment section for more information. So drop it. Somebody might actually check the comment section to get more info, especially if the ones I left here is not enough for them. Okay, so thank you guys for watching. If you are really interested in this topic, I have a couple of other videos on my channel relating to this, so I think I'm also going to link them here for you guys. But thank you for watching this video to the very end, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.